Hey folks, welcome back into Job Africa. This is Chris. Let me read you a few effusive comments. Now, this is related to the 2004 election, which saw George Walker Bush reelected to the presidency in an overwhelming victory. Well, pretty good victory, I should say, not overwhelming. But George Bush won the election, and as a consequence, we saw Senator Barbara Boxer, Democrat of California, and Representative Stephanie Tubbs, Democrat of Ohio, objects to the certification of Ohio's electoral votes in January 2005. What? I thought that was the death of the republic. The Wall Street Journal said this is dangerous. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm confused. I confused the Democratic effort to overturn the election results of George Bush, which was pointless because it was one state and there was nothing to it. The Wall Street Journal and the following people I'm going to mention who complained today and are calling for something quite outrageous didn't seem to care about Barbara Boxer and Stephanie Tubbs objecting to Ohio's electoral votes. I should also mention that the Republicans have won three of the six presidential race now in the 21st century. Guess what, folks? Guess what? All three times Republican won. Democrats sought to overturn the results by raising a challenge in the joint session of Congress in January after the election. Now, twice they failed. In 2000, they didn't get someone in the Senate and House, so it failed. In 2016, they tried to do the same thing with Trump. They didn't get a senator and a member of the House, so it failed. And this time, they tried it in 2004, 2005. So these are the effusive comments that came from then Representative Chris Van Hollen of Maryland, who is now Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland. He said this in 2005 in regards to the Democratic challenge to the presidential election vote certification. I believe that Senator Barbara Boxer and Representative Stephanie Tubbs have performed a very valuable public service in bringing this debate before the Congress. As Americans, we should all be troubled by reports of voting problems in many parts of the country. I've been particularly concerned about the lack of a verifiable paper record in connection with electronic voting systems. I'm proud to be a co-sponsor of legislation to solve that problem. Only you didn't solve anything, Chris Van Hollen. We have massive problems with our voting system because it's been undermined. In 2005, Nancy Pelosi, now the Speaker of the House, had the following to say about Barbara Boxer's challenge. Today we are witnessing democracy at work. Really? Really? Okay, remember these words. This isn't, as some of our Republican colleagues have referred to it, sadly, as frivolous. This debate is fundamental to our democracy. Further, she said, the representatives of the American people in this House are standing up for three fundamental American beliefs. Ready? The right to vote is sacred. Okay. That a representative has a duty to represent his or her constituents. All right. And that the rule of law is the hallmark of our nation. Really? The rule of law is the hallmark of our nation? Interesting. Yet in the past 2 days, since events unfolded on Capitol Hill, and even before that, we've seen members of the Democratic Party calling for the resignation or the ouster of members of Congress because they object or plan to object to these election irregularities and the certification of the results by the joint session of Congress. Now, there is a constitution and there is an 1870s or 1880s law from the federal government that sets this process clearly that this is possible. And as I mentioned, the Republicans have won three elections since 2000, and every single time the Democrats sought to object. There was no umbrage. The Wall Street Journal didn't write ridiculous op-eds attacking the Democrats, as they've now done to Republicans, nor did anyone call for Barbara Boxer or Stephanie Tubbs to resign. In fact, they were effusive. Witnessing democracy at work, Nancy Pelosi's very words in January 2005. A very valuable public service in bringing debate before Congress, Chris Van Hollen, 2005. Yet now, on Thursday, today, the 7th of January, 2021, Senator Chris Coons, the replacement for Joe Biden. No, not the immediate replacement. There was an appointee, and he's the first one to win the office that Joe Biden sat in for 26,000 years. But Chris Coons, Democrat from Delaware, said he supported calls for Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri and Senator Ted Cruz of Texas to resign. Now, this comes after a similar statement the previous day on Wednesday from Senator Mazie Hirono of Hawaii. You know her, the woman that's never done anything except sit in government seats for 41 years. She's been in government since 1981, folks. 1981 she's been in government. 73-year-old woman, 1981 is when she came in government and never left. She's been in government forever. Forever. Wow. Anyway, this is what Chris Coons said to say. Senator Cruz, you must accept responsibility for how your craven, self-serving actions contributed to the deaths of 4 people yesterday and how you fundraised off this riot. The hell is he talking about? What the hell is he talking about? So it's okay for Barbara Boxer to raise an objection, but not for these senators And why is that? Because they're afraid of Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz. Because they're not deep state, permanent political class clowns who will kowtow to the Democrats now that they're in power. And they fear them, although they're vastly outnumbered. People like Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley number in a few dozen in the Senate. That's it. They're outnumbered 3-1 at least. Now, this entertaining piece also comes from, this is also today. This is a tweet, of course. This is from the failed bartender from New York with the Ivy League education that doesn't understand how unemployment figures are generated in this country. Both you and Senator Hawley must resign. If you do not, the Senate should move for your expulsion. That, of course, is coming from the brilliant Ivy League mind of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Yeah. How about you pay your bar tab and your credit card bill and leave this to the adults in the room, okay? Representative Cortez. Yes. Of course, Mazie Hirono, we know, is the person who in the violation of Senate norms in response to the call for the confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett, said, hell no. She's also the person that attacked Justice Amy Coney Barrett and publicly attacked her and admonished her because she used the term sexual preference in reference to the LGBTQ community. Now, of course, those of us who have been alive, breathing, and speaking the English language for the past several decades know that the normal term that has been applied for decades was sexual preference. Of late, some people in the LGBTQ community have been demanding that people use the term sexual orientation. Okay? Right? So the other one's offensive now? Yeah, give it a break. Anyway, so she also said that she's concerned that Amy Coney Barrett would not be able to fulfill her role on the court in ensuring the protection of the constitutionally guaranteed right of gays to marry. Well, I have nothing against gay marriage or civil unions, but there's nothing in the Constitution that guarantees anyone the right to marry, heterosexual or homosexual, man or woman. That's bullshit. And Senator Mazie Hirono doesn't understand the Constitution or doesn't care and wants to propagate propaganda. There's nothing in the Constitution. The federal government doesn't confer marriage upon citizens. That's a state responsibility, and states execute that, and they can set the laws on that. There you go. So I have grave concerns that Senator Mazie Hirono is out of her depth and doesn't understand her job as a senator. And her job there is to legislate and create laws or repeal laws. She clearly doesn't understand the Constitution. Anyway, folks, there you have it. So we are seeing Democrats not satisfied that they've managed to get this election for president, that they, without even campaigning, that they have captured the Senate because of the feckless Republican Party and its failures, that they have retained the House, albeit with a tiny majority. That's not good enough for them. That's not good enough for them. Now they have to target anyone who opposes anything they say and do. This is tragic. This is the death of the Republic, ladies and gentlemen. What Senator Josh Hawley did was not even support Trump. He didn't even claim pervasive or widespread fraud. All he said is he was objecting to the certification of results in states that didn't follow their laws. Now, that's the rule of law. In 2005, Nancy Pelosi was all in favor of the rule of law. Of course, she no longer supports the rule of law. Now she supports anarchy, which makes it especially odd that she wouldn't support the thugs who showed up to disparage and tarnish the reputation of patriots who were there to protest yesterday because they weren't following the rule of law. But in 2005, she was in favor of rule of law. She said it's a hallmark of our nation. Unfortunately, we know that she's full of crap. She doesn't believe in the rule of law. She believes in the rule of the mob and the rule of the Democratic Party. And these people are craving for power, and that's all they care about. Senator Hawley and Senator Cruz should ignore these jackals. They are antithesis of democracy. They don't care about democracy, or more importantly, they don't care about representative government or a republic. They care about power and dictating to us. Remember, Nancy Pelosi's rules for her, not rules for us. And it applies for everyone we've mentioned here. Rules for them, not for us. And their hypocrisy is off the charts. Off the charts. It's disgusting, folks. It's really pathetic and sad. They praise Democrats who challenged an election on nothing. They had nothing. They had no evidence whatsoever in one state. Yet this election, members of the Senate courageously stepped up and did the right thing, and they expect them to resign. And then they conflate their actions with the actions of organized armed thugs who clearly were going to commit these crimes, whether there were protesters there or not, as they arrived before the protesters did and already started agitating. There you go, folks. If you're not subscribed to Chris White Africa, consider becoming one. Smash the subscription button right down there. Be sure to toggle the bell icon to get notified updates if you want to follow the channel and videos. And I ask that you smash the like button because it helps drive viewership, at least until the censorship blanket extends to this channel as well. In the meantime, please smash it, and thank you for your support for the channel. And I will continue to expose hypocrites each and every opportunity I have, whether they be Republicans or Democrats.